I followed a strange light into the forest, and what I saw inside an abandoned cabin still haunts me to this day. So I get back to my grandparents' house and I'm trying to catch my breath. I must have looked like I'd seen a ghost because my grandmother came rushing over, asking me what happened. I tried to explain, but the words wouldn't come out right. I was stammering, still in shock. My grandfather, who had been sitting in his chair by the fireplace, suddenly went pale when I mentioned the mirror. He stood up, his face serious in a way I had never seen before, and he asked me to describe the cabin. I told him everything I could remember: the lantern, the smell, the mirror, and the way my reflection had smiled at me. He looked at my grandmother and they exchanged this look, like they knew something they hadn't told me. That's when my grandfather sat me down and started telling me a story I'd never heard before. He said that a long time ago, before he was even born, there was a man who lived in the forest, a hermit who people said practiced dark magic. The locals believed he could summon spirits and that he used a mirror to trap the souls of those who wandered too close to his cabin. Over time, people stopped going into the forest because anyone who did either disappeared or came back, changed. My grandfather told me that after the hermit disappeared, his cabin fell into ruin, and people thought the curse had ended. But every now and then, someone would claim to see a light in the woods at night, a flickering lantern like the hermit was still out there, luring people in. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It sounded insane, but after what I had experienced, I didn't know what to think. I asked my grandfather why they never told me about this before. He just looked at me and said, "Because we didn't think it was real until now." For weeks after that night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that smile in the mirror and I heard that voice whispering to me. I avoided the forest completely, even during the day. The scariest part? One morning when I was brushing my teeth, I glanced at the bathroom mirror, and for a split second I saw it again, that twisted smile. It was gone in an instant, but it was enough to send me into a panic. To this day, I don't know what I saw in that cabin or if the stories my grandfather told me were true. But one thing's for sure, I've never been back to that forest and I never will.